Hello children, this is the very first of Nanny Pam's bedtime stories and I hope you enjoy it. It's called Katie's Treasure, a myth from Holland. Hans was a cheesemaker and he lived with his wife Katie. They had a small farm near the crossroads by the old inn outside the Dutch town of Haarlem. Every week Hans would go to the market in Amsterdam with his great big round cheeses, and he would come back with some coins jingling in his pocket and a few bulbs for his wife to plant in their little garden. Katie was a dreamer, but Hans loved her very much. One day, as Hans was pressing cheeses in the dairy, he noticed Katie wasn't singing as usual. "What's wrong, my dear?" he asked. "You are not as happy as usual." "Oh, husband, I have had a very strange dream, 3 nights running now," she whispered. "It was so real." "You and your dreams," laughed Hans. "Tell me what happened then." So Katie told him that she had dreamt she must go to Amsterdam and then walk around the corn exchange 3 times. From then on she would be rich beyond her wildest dreams. Hans thought it was another of her daft wishes, but she was so very serious, so eventually he agreed to walk around the corn exchange 3 times when he was next at the market with his cheeses. And so Katie would have to wait until market day. She simply couldn't wait that long. So she crept out of the house very early the next morning, while Hans was still asleep, and set off on the road to Amsterdam. She walked and walked, and then some more, and eventually she arrived in Amsterdam. She was very excited as she set off round the corn exchange. Once, twice, and a 3rd time. Absolutely nothing happened. Katie sat down with a thump. Her feet were very sore, her head ached, and she felt very silly. Whatever would Hans say when he heard where she'd been? Her eyes filled with tears. "Can I help you?" a kindly voice said. "You seem to be lost. I've watched you walk 3 times around the corn exchange." Katie looked up and there was a man, a farmer by the look of him, and he had such a kindly face that before too long Katie was telling him of her silly dream. Well, he just laughed and laughed. "I had a dream like that once, but I knew it was only a dream," said the farmer. "I dreamt I had to go to the dairy on a small farm near the crossroads by the old inn outside the Dutch town of Haarlem, and under the flagstones I would find a great big chest of gold. Quite ridiculous. I think you should go home to your good husband and forget your dreams." And he walked away down the street. Katie could not really believe what she had heard, but tired as she was, she went home again as fast as she ever could. Hans was cross with her at first for going on such a fool's errand, but when she demanded he dig up the dairy floor, he just laughed at her. So she picked up the spade and began digging herself. The pile of earth grew higher and higher, and Hans despaired for his clean dairy. But then the spade struck something metal. Hans and Katie peered down into the hole. An old rusting chest lay on its side, and spilling out was a great pile of coins. Well, then they both dug away with both hands, and soon there was a great pile of gold coins on the dairy floor, enough to keep them in great comfort for the rest of their days. They were content with their way of life, so they stayed at the farm near the crossroads by the old inn outside the Dutch town of Haarlem, and Hans went every week to the market with his cheeses. But Katie never remembered a single one of her dreams ever again. I hope you enjoyed that, children. Sleep well, darlings. I love you. Good night.